Hello friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Kahlo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co-host is David, aka Premier Pulse on social media.
Hi everyone, on today's episode, Jen explains Ozzy Osbourne.
Welcome to the show, grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
Alright, good to be back in the studio. It's fucking freezing in here.
It's starting to get chilly,
As you can
yes.
see, we're in all cozy. But yeah, it's been a while since we've actually been in the studio. I think our last actual recorded episode was you and an upcoming guest. And then it's been a minute since you and I have been behind the camera. I think it was Alfred Hitchcock was our last one. So
Yeah. We have to batch create content at this point because we're running around, which I mean I'm super happy with. By the time that this airs, we will have been at a startup sort of private event in SF, which is very exciting. I'm sure I'll post about it, but yeah, I'm excited to do Ozzy Osbourne. We did debate, like, is this too soon? But I was curious what his sign was. He's a Sagittarius. He was born on December 3rd, and December 3rd falls on a Wednesday, and I'm like, we have to do this.
The stars align.
Yes, for his heavenly or hellish birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had, before he passed away, we had mentioned doing him just because we kind of got together and we're like, well, who could we spotlight? And he definitely was one that came up, but we tried to be very respectful of people who are, you know, still alive. We've covered people who have passed away and are still alive, but we're like, yeah, I don't know if it's appropriate. And then when he passed away, we didn't want to like capitalize, and it seemed very vulture-like behavior to be like, now we're going to release an episode. But you saw that correlation with his birthday, and you're like, well, you know what, it makes sense. And I think enough time has passed for us to be able to do a respectful episode. But you know what I have noticed? A few of our spotlights have kind of come back into the main media. I mean, obviously Ozzy Osbourne is still pretty fresh, but with our Millennial Saint, it wasn't really talked about, and then was it canonized? Yeah. And then all of a sudden he was like popular again, and we had done an episode on him, so that was really cool to be like, oh, like these people are coming back into relevance. So
Actually, he wasn't canonized. Let me clarify. So the previous pope said we're gonna do this, and then he passed away, and then the new pope basically announced like, I'm gonna pick up where he left off, and that's what the news was.
yeah.
So it hasn't happened yet, but it will very soon.
Yeah.
But with Ozzy Osbourne, I mean, he is one of the most well documented figures of recent history. Like, they had the Osbourne show, they had a podcast, movies, like obviously hardcore fans. So again, what we say today is a perspective of like two first generation Mexican American folks who are discovering him in adulthood. Like, that is our POV. So if you want like a perfect Ozzy and Sharon like documentary, like, this isn't it.
Kind of like Fleetwood Mac, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess I can start off. I don't know. I'm going to say like anything really about Ozzy Osbourne. The only thing I knew about him was the show in the 2000s because like the clips were really funny. And when I grew up around that time, reality TV was super unhinged and it was super fun to watch. But beyond that, I don't know if I could name a single song. As a matter of fact, when he passed away, I was like, I don't know any of his songs. And there was a song that you're like, no, you know for sure. And I was like, are you sure? And you played Crazy Train. And I was like, that's a hip hop song.
Oh my God.
Because there is a hip hop song that did use that like as a cover. And I never knew that was like an Ozzy song. So I mean, Jen kind of explained it already, but I really am going into it with like zero perspective. I do like all sorts of music, but I will say, I'm guessing he's like heavy metal, right? Or black metal? I don't know.
I mean, yes, but compared to the metal we have nowadays, like he was one of the fathers of
metal,
the movement.
Though, right? Yeah. So I will say that's probably one of my least favorite genres or music I listen to. For this episode, I prepared and I went through my Spotify list and I was like, what's the closest like music I listen to that's like Ozzy Osbourne adjacent? and no Ozzy Osbourne, unfortunately. And I don't even know if it's the same category, but there's only like 3 bands, and each of those bands I only like one song. So it's Coheed and Cambria, and that one of my good friends, Super Chicken, introduced me to that band, and they have a really cool song, which I like. Then there's Dragon Force, Through the Fire and the Flames, but that's just because of Guitar Hero. And then there is another band that I do like called Camelot. The dude, the vocalist, I think he was like an opera singer, so his vocals are really cool and intense, but I only know like 1 or 2 songs, so it's not really up my alley, but I'm guessing Ozzy kind of set the way for that type of genre and that type of music.
Besides Spanish music and reggaeton, rock and metal were like my first loves.
Oh, yeah,
like
you're hella rockera.
I am like, if I'm by myself, I don't like to play it out loud with other people, because if they're not into it, they're like, oh, this is obnoxious. But I love, especially like when I'm going solo on like long distance trips, I love blasting some rock.
Yeah, and it'll come up occasionally in your Spotify where it's like shuffled, or it's playlist that the AI thinks you'll like, and I'm like, what are we listening to right now?
So fun fact about me.
Yeah, Jen and I actually have really, really different music tastes. There's a very small overlap of the things we like, which is one of the things we don't see eye to eye on a lot, but it's fun.
Yeah. Well, let's get to Ozzy. Who is he? He was born John Michael Osbourne, like we said, December 3rd, 1948 in Marston Green, Warwickshire, England. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But yes, he's English.
Is that near London, you think? Well, I guess all of England is tiny, so like near London.
That's relative.
Yeah.
What do you consider near or far? Yeah.
You know, it is crazy because yesterday we got back from LA and we hit some traffic, and we left LA at 11 and didn't
Riverside.
Riverside.
Let's do it justice. We left Riverside.
Anything south of TO to me is LA, but yeah, it took us like 11 hours to get home. So, closeness is very relative. In this case, England, I think, is a tiny little island, so everything is close to each other.
Mm-hmm. His nickname in childhood was Ozzy, so he already had that. So Ozzy Osbourne. He had humble beginnings. Both his parents worked in factories, and he was the 4th of 6 children, so big family.
Oh, wow.
3 older sisters, 2 younger brothers, so he was the oldest boy. And they lived in a 2-bedroom home. So 6 kids in a 2-bedroom home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the parents were always arguing about money. He definitely had dyslexia.
So strong working class. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In school, he definitely had dyslexia, and he strongly feels like he had ADHD. Around the age of 11, unfortunately, he was the victim of repeated molestation by bullies. Yeah. So that just really made him, of course, traumatized, suicidal. School already wasn't his thing. So he dropped out at 15 to work different jobs. He worked as a construction site laborer, plumber apprentice.
At 15?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, a bunch of different jobs as a young person. Plumber apprentice toolmaker, car factory, horn tuner, and a slaughterhouse worker. And then at 17, he was accused of robbing a clothing store, and his dad did not bail him out, and he did 6 weeks in jail. That's the only jail time he's done.
Was it to teach him a lesson? Couldn't afford the bail, or a combination of both?
Probably a combination of both.
This is the second person from England that we have that the parents kind of let them be in jail, remember? Because Alfred Hitchcock was also taken to jail to scare him straight.
That one was unnecessary. If Ozzy actually robbed this clothing store as a 17-year-old, you gotta do the time.
It sounds like a trend for English folks. So.
Like we said, he was definitely depressed and suicidal. But, he found music as his outlet at 18, 19 years old. He was recruited by Geezer Butler to be the lead singer of a band called Rare Breed.
What a name, Geezer Butler.
I know. Yeah, very interesting. The band played 2 shows and broke up. So this is another band where they get together and then they immediately break up.
Is that even a band though? That sounds like a trio more than a band.
Yeah. Ozzy and Butler went to another band called Polka Tulk Blues, but then they renamed their band Earth which is kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
And they were booked for a show, but I guess there was another Earth band, and they were like, "Oh, we thought you were like," or we were trying to book the other one, and we booked you instead.
By accident?
Yeah, so they got booked by accident. And so that caused confusion. So they were like, you know what, let's change our name again. So then they eventually settled on Black Sabbath.
What a name.
I love it.
Yeah.
On August of 1969. And it comes from a film of that same title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they saw a film, Black Sabbath, and they were like, that's a sick name.
That is a sick name.
That is a sick name.
Now, let me ask you something, and you may not know, but I'm assuming was it a 2-person band?
No, it was like a 4-person band, but Ozzy and Butler were the ones that were like...
That started it?
Yeah.
And, again, I don't know anything about Ozzy, but was he just a vocalist, or did he play any instruments?
That I did not pay attention to. He was mainly like the vocalist, but if he did like some backup guitar, I actually don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But they noticed that they were a little bit, darker, frightening aesthetic, and that people actually liked it. It was definitely very unique, and they were
Like the public noticed Black Sabbath had like a darker undertone.
yeah, they were like, oh, this is different. This is kind of spooky, like a little more emo, whatever they called emo back then. And they were like, oh, we have something that is like not common, and people are gravitating towards it. So let's go. Like, we are gonna be successful.
Yeah.
And then Warner Brothers modestly invested, but it was an instant success. So Warner Bros. Records were like, oh, we'll give you a trial run, and then they immediately double, tripled their ROI. Yeah. So that was great.
I'm trying to think, again, I'm not super familiar with the rock scene, and even less from the rock scene overseas, but around that time, it's not like there wasn't any rock, right? Like there's The Who, I think Queen maybe had already,
but not this like super
dark.
Super dark stuff.
It was more okay, and then like the Rolling Stones. No, those are probably their peers more than their.
But that's like Beatles almost like that. Like yes, it's more like melody and guitar based, so it's called rock, but compared to like Black Sabbath, it's pretty light. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I know most of, or a few of Ozzy's, like, I guess, newer songs, like more close to recent times than their OG stuff. But when I listened to their album Black Sabbath, I did a lot of research for this episode. I fell in love. Was
Black Sabbath their debut album?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I fell in love. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Their song Black Sabbath is, and I love this overlap, about their encounter with something supernatural. Oh. So I guess before as they got their band together, Black Sabbath, Butler read from some sort of occult book, and then that night, like, something visited him, and then he told Ozzy, and Ozzy was like, let's write about it.
Like a spell book, or just more like a learning book, maybe?
I think maybe more of like spell grimoire type of thing, because something visited him. And then Ozzy was like, let's write about this. And yeah, it is so cool. And then their second album is called Paranoid, which, more on the darker themes.
What do you think their album, like, as far as the vibes, is it, because we're talking about the 70s, so is it super, you talked about this at the top of the episode, but compared to what we have now, it's like, super light, but like, was there still some funky, like, beats, or could you tell that they were different from like that time period?
You could tell they're different from that time period, and if they released Black Sabbath like today, it's still very
it would still hold up.
It would still hold up.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not like for example, when I think of the Beatles, I'm like, why were people tripping? This is like
or Elvis.
Happy music. Or Elvis. It's like, this is happy music. But Black Sabbath is still heavy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I really liked it. I was like, holy crap, this was released in like 69 or 70 and it's this heavy. Like, I like it personally. And I really like the lyrics. I wish I wrote them down. We have so much to go through, but if you listen to the album Black Sabbath, like, you'll see what I mean. But they were looking, so they were getting famous, they were looking for a manager, and they chose Don Arden, and then he had a daughter and a secretary, which was Sharon. Aww. So through like trying to find a manager, that's how they met. Also, side note, in my because this doesn't tie in anywhere else, so this is the only place I can mention it. I didn't know that Sharon is Jewish or identifies as Jewish. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So, you know, they have strong ties to, you know, Judaism and Israel and things like that. But he was married when he met Sharon. He was married to Thelma Riley from 1971 to 1982, and they had 3 kids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I mean, it was already kind of going to hell when he met Sharon, so they broke up. And then so he divorced Thelma in 1982, and he married Sharon in 1982. So
real quick.
Yeah.
It does sound like he had one foot out the door, though, right? It wasn't. I mean, not to justify it, I guess, if he like cheated, but if he already had one foot out the door and met Sharon, and I mean, obviously Sharon's been with him since then, all the way to his passing. So he made the right choice, right?
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock, where people said that his wife was like that he had 4 hands and 2 of them were, I think her name was Alma, right? Yeah, and 2 of them were Almas. Very similar vibe for Sharon and Ozzy.
Like Sharon was his rock.
Like his rock, like really helped him heal and stabilize. But anyway, we're a long way from healing. We're still in the middle of like his career.
We should mention, though, it's not like she played second fiddle. I mean, Sharon Osbourne herself is pretty accomplished. She's been a judge on America's Got Talent. Like, she was a seasoned judge. Obviously, they had the reality show. And is she on one of the... I know her daughter's on one of the talk shows, but is she on The View or one of those?
I think maybe she was for a brief time, but I do have some of her accomplishments later in the episode. Perfect. Yeah. So like I said, Ozzy had 3 kids in his first marriage and then 3 kids with Sharon. So he has 6 kids total. And the 3 kids with Sharon are Amy, Kelly, and Jack. You know, very successful, had more albums, married to Sharon, did the thing. He took a very brief solo career, and he called his solo project the Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of Oz.
Which is kind of sick. Yeah. I like it.
No, that's cool.
1977 to 1978, so only a year.
Just like a play on Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we saw Wicked a couple of days ago. It was a good movie.
yeah, you should definitely check it out. And then he was still doing, you know, Blizzard of Oz, Black Sabbath. But in 1979, believe it or not, he was fired from Black Sabbath for excessive drinking and substance use and conflict with other members. Which, you know, we talked about it. He has his demons, you know. He was successful fairly young. You don't really have time to heal. You just keep going.
He also had we want to look at the whole picture, right? And he had a lot of trauma growing up. Just from the start, it sounded like, you know, money was a big issue. Obviously, the things with his bullies. And then it sounds like he had to grow up super quick. And, you know, we're not one to judge how people cope. And I'm sure, like, that had a lot to do with it. And going from all that trauma and that turmoil to all of a sudden being successful and having money, I'm sure that dichotomy of worlds clashing and having access to, you know, what have you, probably led to that too. Also the times, right? I mean, this is the time of free love. This is the time of experimentation, psychedelics. So,
not talking about your feelings in like a super deep way.
Yeah. So in a weird way though, it sounds like he put it on paper through his music though, right? So he did have some sort of outlet to how he kind of coped or expressed his feelings. A very, very sad situation, but unfortunately, like, primed to be victim of substance abuse and use.
Yeah. And then in 1980, he left, started doing the solo thing again, and he left to California. Okay. So that's when he started coming over stateside.
Were they big in the U.S., though, before he came?
Yeah. They were big.
They were, like, worldwide.
Yeah. So interesting. Have you heard of Ozfest?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ozfest sounded so sick. Teenage me was like, "Fuck, I want to go so bad." Yeah. Because again, I was a little emo kid. But Ozfest actually started in 1997-ish because Sharon tried to get Ozzy on Lollapalooza and they snubbed them.
They said no.
"No, you're not our vibe."
You're not our vibe. Okay, so it wasn't because he wasn't part of Black Sabbath. It's just that's not who they wanted. So
then Sharon said, "Fuck you guys, we're starting our own festival." And they started Ozfest. And Ozfest, went on from 1997 to 2010.
What's really interesting is, like, there's a whole circuit. Lollapalooza is not the only one. I mean, they could have had Woodstock, they could have Warped Tour, but they're like, nope, we're just going to do our own thing.
Yeah. I don't know if Warped Tour was in the early 90s or was it the 2000s?
I mean, for sure the 2000s, but Woodstock was a thing. I mean, that shit was going on since the 70s.
But I think that was too heavy for Woodstock.
Really?
For Woodstock vibes? Yeah. Well, you're thinking Woodstock 99. That's different.
No, because, I mean, the Woodstocks in the 70s, you had Jimi Hendrix, like, burning his guitar on stage. And at the time...
Yeah, but it was more upbeat music versus, like, Black Sabbath is, like, I'm seeing a dark figure in my room. It's haunting me.
You know what's kind of messing up my perspective of things? How we do music festivals nowadays, like Coachella, Stagecoach, it's all, I feel like they just throw everything on there, right? Like you have rappers at Stagecoach, you have, which is fine, like there's nothing wrong with that.
It wasn't like that back in the day.
But I guess it was more segregated in the sense of like musical genres, right? I think the only pure form of festivals we still have is like electric music festivals, because all those play like EDM music. You don't really have too many pop people, but you look at the lineups now from all the big music festivals that we have, and it's just like who's ever popular. So I think in my eyes, I'm like, oh, that's how it was before, but it does, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like there is a difference of like they wanted to keep the genres separate.
Yeah. And Black Sabbath reunited at the first Ozfest, so they kind of let bygones be bygones, and they're like, all right, we'll come back. And yeah, the last Ozfest was in 2010.
Who was it? It wasn't just them, right?
No,
I wonder what
it was a bunch of great bands like Pantera, Metallica, AC/DC, like just all that.
It was
vibe.
big hitters.
Yes, yes, all that vibe. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. It sounds like maybe they didn't have their own festival, so that was cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, good on Sharon. She was so smart to be like...
Fuck you, Lollapalooza.
Well, not only that, but, like, yeah, there are, like, metalheads and rock fans, and that's not going away. So we need to create a venue for them.
A safe space for them.
Yeah, let's create a safe space for all these metalheads. Yeah, and, I mean, it was a great success. It went on for, like 20-ish years, and, up until 2010, that's when they were like, no more.
Do we know why it stopped?
I don't actually know why it stopped. I didn't look at that because there's so much to cover with Ozzy. I really wanted to do it justice, so I definitely want to get into the controversies and some of the juicy stuff, but...
Really quick, though. Okay, sorry. So 2010, it was the end of the fest. You're more into the scene with, like, metal and stuff. Do you think, like, metal or that type of genre has fallen off a lot?
No.
Okay. I don't, maybe just because I'm not plugged in, but I don't hear like new metal bands emerging or there are. Yeah, it's still like a big thing.
One of the newer artists that I've recently really liked is someone named Kim Dracula.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a drag name.
Yeah, I know, it does. It does. And he kind of looks that way too. He looks like he's very emo with like very long blonde hair. And he has really sick vocals. So yeah, they're still neat.
Like it's still alive and going.
It's still alive and going,
Okay.
In the France Olympics that just passed, I mean, they had like metal in one of their opening ceremonies. Yeah. And that was really sick. I mean... Yeah, all these, like, festivals now, I'm blanking on their names, but there are other types of festivals, like, for metalheads and rock fans and stuff, and they're still hella busy and selling out. We'll talk about, I have a hunch as to why it ended in 2010, but I don't want to go there yet. It's in the controversies, so.
Got it.
Yeah, we will talk about possibly why after this break.
Hi, this is Jamie from Jamie's Reading Rainbow. Do you want to know what your aura is? Do you even have any aura? Do you just want to do an energy check to see if you have any imbalances in your chakra system? Book your appointment with me and read your energy in real time. Also, did you know that I can do cat and dog readings as well? Catch me at Moonchild, or you can DM me on Instagram, or you can email me at discoveryourrainbow@gmail.com. My Instagram is at JamieLynnSQ. And of course, you can always catch me at Moonchild.
Welcome back. So you said you didn't really know anything about Ozzy. Did you know any of the controversies?
I think just the big headlines. I don't know, because I think when I kind of got to know about him a little bit more, he was a little bit older. So I don't know if it was more that I saw it as like, oh, he's just like a funny older dude, like just being goofy, right? Like the burrito thing and, you know, things of that nature. The only thing I know, because I think that's just like popular media, is the bat thing, where supposedly he like would bite the head off live bats during shows. But even when I heard it the first time, I was like, I can't imagine that's true. People love headlines, and even if it shown to be true, like special effects or whatever could have that, you know.
That reminds me of the rumor that went around when we were kids that Marilyn Manson removed ribs to suck his dick.
Correct. Yeah. So it's kind of along those lines, right? The shock value. And then whether it's, I'm sure you'll talk about it, but from as of now, like whether it's true or not, the attention was great, right? So if it wasn't true and people made that shit up, I'm sure Ozzy was like, "Oh yeah, sure, like I did it. Why not?" You know?
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited to hear about it.
We'll definitely get into it. Well, the first and most obvious one is that people called him satanic and crazy.
Would he consider himself satanic?
We'll talk about his personal views later, but no.
To be fair, I think anything that's like not Christian is satanic. So the barometer for that is not that high for me to say like, you know, he was or wasn't satanic.
Yeah. He has two specific songs that sort of touch on people judging him, called Miracle Man and Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley, referencing Aleister Crowley, a big occultist, I think from the Bay Area, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that the dude who started the Satanic Temple? He sounds super familiar.
There are two. There's like the Church of Satan and there's the Satanic Temple. So I don't want to get them confused. So I don't know which one he started, but he started something. But his song Miracle Man is now one of my like favorite songs of his, because it's really good at pointing out hypocrisy.
And what album is that from?
I don't know the album, but just look up Miracle Man and you'll listen to it. But there was like this, you know, mega church evangelical TV pastor that was like, Ozzy Osbourne is the devil. And he wrote basically like his version of a diss track. And I'm going to...
I like that.
And I'm going to read you some of the lyrics now and you'll see why I love this song. I'm looking for a miracle man that tells no lies. I saw a miracle man on TV crying. Such a hypocritical man, a devil with a crucifix. He needs another carnal fix to take him higher and higher. He got busted with his pants down. Repent ye sinners, self-righteous clown. Miracle man got busted. And yes, this like TV pastor was basically caught with a sex worker and was crying on TV and like, the devil got a hold of me and all this stuff.
Of course, it's the devil.
Yeah. So I was like, that's a great diss track.
It isn't exactly the same, but this story kind of has parallels to that Hozier song, Take Me to Church, where the people who just listen to the chorus, they think it's like a religious song. And I've seen like videos where like churches will play it, and it's not a religious song. It's definitely a, not a diss, but you know, it talks about the negative parts of church, and I think this is kind of similar in a weird parallel way. And
it reminds me of Like a Prayer, Madonna.
Yes.
That's a song about having an orgasm. But okay. So in 1981, we're going to start with like more specific dates. He had a meeting with CBS Records. The original plan was to release some doves as a sign of peace, but of course, struggling with sobriety his whole life, he was heavily intoxicated and decided to bite off the head of the dove. Okay. And because of this, he was quickly escorted out of the building. But at that point, he was just like tweaking and on a good one, whatever he was on. We don't know why he did this.
So some bird sashimi.
Yeah, he did. He doesn't even know why he did this.
So he did do that.
He did.
He bit the head of a flying creature. So
yes.
That is confirmed.
Yes, that is confirmed. In 1982, so a year after that, in Des Moines, Iowa, someone threw a live bat on stage, and he thought it was like rubber and that they were trying to sort of make fun of him for the dove incident.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he thought it was fake. He thought it was like a prop or something. So he did that and he bit the head off of the bat. And they did an investigation. Obviously, it was like crazy. And the person that brought it and threw it said that the bat was dead. They were like, it was a live bat, but it was already dead when I brought it. But Ozzy said, no, that motherfucker was alive. Because when I went to go bite it, it bit his lip.
Oh my gosh.
So he bit the head of a live bat off, and he had to go get a rabies shot.
I have some questions, though. I'm not bat shaming, but why didn't the bat just fly away? Like, that must have been a crazy throw and a crazy catch. Because I feel like if you throw some sort, I mean, bats aren't birds, but if you throw a flying creature into the air, their first instinct would be to fly away, not to get caught, I guess.
I don't know. No idea. But, yeah, the question was also like, well, why would you do that twice?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know.
He's like, shit happened.
Yeah. People close to him say that he likes to like scare people or have that shock factor.
Yeah.
Like, he would rather people think he's crazy than pity him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he likes... Yeah,
the shock value.
He likes the shock value.
He's a rock star.
Yeah.
I think those people forget, like, these people are rock stars, right? You have all these rock stars doing crazy shit and whatever. I mean, if it brings the views, I'm sure they're like, it's worth the controversy.
Yeah, and then like I want to say maybe like 20 years after more like 30 years after the incident, like several decades after the incident, they actually released like a limited edition amount of like bat plushies with detachable heads.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
At, like, their shows or like his merch?
Merch.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. That's what I'm saying. You got to step into it.
Yeah, yeah. And then in 1982, that same year, he was in San Antonio, Texas. He wore his wife's dress for a photo shoot. So he was doing some sort of drag stunt. And he was really drunk. He ended up urinating on the Alamo Cenotaph, which is a memorial for those who died in the Battle of Alamo.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. He was banned from San Antonio for a decade.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no. Texas takes the Alamo and just honor and their troops very seriously. So it's like, Ozzy, what did you do?
You don't mess with Texas.
Yes, yes.
Side note, do you know that was a PSA campaign for littering?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, people think it's about like being tough, but it was more like keep Texas beautiful, and it was like, you don't mess with Texas and don't throw your trash on the floor.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay. And so, yeah, obviously this plays into like he struggled with sobriety his whole life. Yeah. However, closer to like, I want to say 2010, he started to develop like some health issues. He had like some little micro tremors, and they didn't realize it until way later that he actually had like a specific form of Parkinson's where it starts very like mild at first to where you don't even notice it. Mm-hmm. So I'm also wondering if that's why around like 2010 Ozfest got canceled, because later
the health issues. Yeah.
Throughout his life, like, it started to progress. He had a hard time, like, doing a lot of stuff for himself. But
do you think his lifestyle caught up to him, or he was just predispositioned to have like Parkinson's?
Both, because I mean the Parkinson's is genetic, but he also said he was like, I'm really surprised that my lifestyle hasn't caught up with me more. Mm-hmm. Like he says that in several documentaries. Yeah. But he was a performer. He loved being on stage. He was on stage his whole life. He only had 3 weeks of retirement before he passed. So he went hard.
He went to the very end.
Yeah, he did. So a little bit more about his personal life. He said that he does believe in God, but he's not religious. But he did love crosses. Like if you look at like the Osbourne show or a lot of his like, just personal media, he loves crucifixes because I guess they're kind of metal.
The ultimate metal.
Yeah, the ultimate metal. He sent our current president, Donald Trump, a notice that he doesn't allow him to use his music. So, he sent basically like a cease and desist. The reality TV show, The Osbournes on MTV, was only on air for 4 seasons, but it was definitely memorable.
Yeah, did you watch it?
I watched the first season in preparation for this. It was really funny.
There's a lot of funny lines, and I think that's the vision I have of Ozzy, and he's really funny in that show. He just like walks around lounging, just talking shit to his kids, right? And like, but he seems like a funny dude, and that's the only visual I have of him. So I know he's like the Dark Prince and has like, he's super like rock star, but he's just funny.
Yeah. He is the Prince of Darkness, but he loved his kids so much. He also loved animals. I mean, besides,
Did he though? I don't know about that.
They had a fuck ton of dogs, like so many dogs. And on the show, I was surprised that he had 3 kids with Sharon, because on the Osbourne show, you only saw 2 kids, but it's because Amy decided not to participate.
Yeah.
She didn't want, because she was also trying to get into music in her own way. She didn't want basically like her dad's reputation to set the stage for her and for people to assume like, oh, because you're Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, like this is the type of musician you'll be. And she also would sometimes say that she didn't approve of the way that everyone would like act on TV. She was definitely the more like reserved, mild member of the Osbourne family.
Yeah, know what happens. Yeah, some of these reality TV shows, they have like families, and there's members who are like, I don't want to be a part of it. So which is, I think is great actually. I think, you know, they're standing up for themselves, and that makes sense.
And then he passed away July 22nd, 2025. Again, he only had like 2 or 3 weeks of retiring. And he never really wanted to retire, but he made his like dream home in England, and he said like, bury me in England. I want to be in England when I pass. So when they finally made the decision to move back, him and Sharon, he only lasted like 3 weeks. And I feel like that's very common when people like stop working or stop having a purpose. They deteriorate very quickly.
I kind of get a sense though that he knew the end was coming, because I don't know if you're going to touch on him, but like his final show was, I mean, I watched parts of it, and all these huge legends came out to like pay their honor, or pay their respects, and just how memorable he was. And I think that's honestly the first time I realized how big he was as an artist, because again, I was like, oh yeah, like I know him, through like the media, but it was really cool / sad seeing him in his last performance. He couldn't stand, but he gave it all his all. I think
they put him on like a nice black throne to like still make him seem like cool.
But I mean, talk about going till the very end, right? Like,
all these like metalhead performers in his final show were like sobbing, because I think they also knew that the end was near.
Absolutely.
All
right, well, let's get into his astrology. I'm sure he has super interesting astrology.
Yes. So we talked about the rating. He has a C rating.
Ooh, that's pretty low.
Yeah, because we don't know his exact time of birth. But again, he was born December 3rd, 1948. So when he passed away on July 22nd, 2025, he was 76 years old. What we do know for sure is that he is a Sagittarius sun and a Capricorn moon. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so which is lucky but also excessive. So that's where we see like, surprisingly he didn't like face more consequences like in his life or his body, but he also had a lot of excess.
He pushed it to the limit.
He pushed it to the limit. He was also a performer. He loved just like being a ham and being in front of people. Very Jupiter ruled. But then with his Capricorn moon, he loved his craft, and that just made him really like hardworking and determined. And he's like, I don't care that I got fired by Black Sabbath. I'm gonna start Blizzard of Oz. Like,
I'm gonna keep going.
We're gonna do Ozfest. Like he was hardworking in his own way. I feel like people don't give him enough credit for how hardworking he was.
Like, do you think there's a perception that he coasted, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, or that it just seems like it came easy to him, it's like, oh, you're just lucky because like you're just an attractive, magnetic type of person, and like opportunities are handed to you.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, not coasted like a Nepo baby, but just, I don't know. Sometimes there are celebrities where it's easy to be like, oh, you just got that because you're hot. You just got that brand deal because you're hot, or you just got like that show because like you have a good smile. Stuff like that. Dumb stuff like that. But his Mercury, which is a planet of communication, was only 5 degrees away from his sun in Sagittarius. So that means that they were pretty close, and they worked together to make like his voice and his lyricism pivotal in his life's work. So he was known as a great lyricist. Like I said, Butler told him, like, yeah, that dark figure like came to me at night, and he's like, well, we got to write a whole song about your dream. Let's do that.
Capitalize on this opportunity.
Yes. And his Venus is in Scorpio, just like Sharon. So Scorpio is a very, like, when it comes to love, like, possessive, devotional, dedicated. It's like such a deep love, and she really did devote herself to him. She was a Libra sun, so she was like the peacemaker in his life. But yeah, their Venus sign was the same, and because of that, like that deep emo devotion, there were rumors that they were going to go to Sweden and die together with assisted end of life care. So talk about devotion. I don't know anything more Venus and Scorpio than that.
Yeah. Like I said, shout out to her too, because she had her own career. I mean, not only did she prop him up, but she did her own thing. I mean, I don't think anybody would say like Sharon didn't capitalize on her own opportunities too.
Yeah, and she really helped him. Like, he struggled with sobriety for a long time, but the last time he almost killed her. Like, he put his hands on her.
Oh, wow.
And she said, like, I love you, but no more.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get sober. And then he did, out of love for her. So it was very, like, toxic. It wasn't the perfect relationship, but did they love each other? Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it like in 2 seconds, but can you share about the burrito thing?
That he liked burritos?
Oh yeah, but he like had a weird obsession with burritos. And he'd always walk around with a burrito. Like, I love these things.
I mean, who doesn't love burritos? They're fucking delicious.
I guess that's true.
I want a burrito right now. I don't think that's noteworthy. I think that's just normal behavior.
I think it is.
He was quirky. He was quirky for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, a very interesting figure. I'm glad I get to learn about him posthumously now and kind of have a better understanding of who he is. I definitely think I'll listen to some of his music now just to get an idea. I did have a couple opportunities to listen to some music before the episode, but like I would play it and then I have to go do something else. I didn't get a chance to listen to like a full song, but for his honor, I will definitely listen to a couple of his songs and see what he was all about.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all should do that for sure. So we do have a comment from our last episode, which was Mystic Maintenance with Stephanie. And the comment...
What a fun episode, huh?
Yeah.
Stephanie's hilarious.
She cracks me up.
I was editing her episode and just the conversation y'all two had was like super funny and like unhinged. And she was really funny.
Yeah, she's great. But... who commented? Vanna, who was also on the show. Talk about when worlds collide.
Yes.
Vanna commented, OMG, I was her after school teacher for high school. What a small world and a wonderful episode.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah. I had a similar thing happen to me because when my first job out of high school was working with kids. I was like a counselor for an after school program, which was super fun, super rewarding. I learned a lot. And then I remember a few years later, I went to like a McDonald's and one of my kids was like working at the cashier. He's like, hey, Mr. D. And I was like, whoa. And it just like kind of hits you in the face sometimes with like time passage and growth. So when I saw that, it brought me right back to that moment. So it's interesting. From Vanna's perspective, it must have been like, wait, I know that person. I used to take care of that person.
Take care of that tiny human.
Also, for our last episode, the Stephanie episode, we do need to make a correction. Genesis said that Al Pacino was busted for not paying his taxes by the IRS. And
I was thinking Al Capone.
Al Capone. So it was not Al Pacino. It was Al Capone. So
my bad.
I was like, I heard it when we were recording because I'm behind the camera when we have guests and I secretly was laughing, but at that point there was nothing we could do about it. And then I heard it, I had forgotten about it because between recording and editing, sometimes a few weeks go by, so you forget what the hell you recorded. And I laughed again and I was like, how am I going to fix this? Because I couldn't, not everybody watches. So if I had put an annotation, it could have been missed by a lot of people. For a second, I thought about like pausing and doing like a voiceover and just correcting it there. But I was like, no, it'll break the flow up. But then I was like, I have to do like a fact check or a correction on our next episode. So yes, it was Al Capone who got busted for not paying his taxes. Al Pacino is the actor, and as of now, there's no reports that he doesn't pay his taxes. But it almost like led me to believe, like, do we need a fact check on the show? I don't think we do. But
that's so much work.
I know it's a lot of work.
If we catch it, we catch it. We try our best, but yeah, sometimes we miss it.
But I thought it was funny, and I don't think anybody else caught it because we didn't get any comments. We also recently did a fun post. If you haven't seen it already, Black Friday just passed, but we did a breakdown of what type of Black Friday shopper you are based on your zodiac sign. And I mean, it's funny and whimsical, but if you haven't checked out that post, check out Jen's Instagram and have a little laugh and leave a comment too, because we were cracking up what we were coming up with the descriptions for the signs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I had like a story time, like, tell me about your Black Friday experiences, and it lined up with their signs.
Some people responded too, right?
A lot of people responded.
That was really funny because I saw the responses, and they are anonymous, but obviously I was like, who was that? And you'd tell me, and I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, please go ahead and do so. We also have a fun episode coming up, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's related to music. We're gonna end the year. Oh, I don't think we're gonna end our last episode of the year won't be this, but it'll be towards the end of the year. Is going to be about occult lyrics in music. So we've chosen a few songs that are more pop, so you wouldn't really think they have occult lyrics, but they have a lot of occultism in them, and we're going to be analyzing those. So really excited to record that episode. We haven't done that one yet, but that'll be a first for us, analyzing like music. So
yeah,
a lot of things going on, finishing the year strong, huh?
Yeah. And speaking of finishing things, so my final day at Infinity Coven will actually be December 13th, 2025. It was fun. It was a fun ride while it lasted, but...
Yeah, how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I think it's time. Like, I had fun, but I understand. And I think it will make way for me to focus my attention to other partnerships. I mean, I'm sad for Zia closing for personal reasons, but
huge shout out to Zia. She was great. The few times I met her, she was a wonderful person. And then when we got to interview her, it was really amazing learning about her and her practice. And such a special person, in your life, and a friend of our podcast too, which is really, really cool.
Well, I appreciated the opportunity to practice in a big city. Like, now I know I can hold my own, because I was like, well, yeah, I've got it down in Merced, but how would I do in LA? How would I do in San Francisco? I would do just fine. Yeah. And Zia helped build my confidence there.
That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you, Zia, for everything. But yes, if you want an in-person reading in San Francisco at Infinity Coven, the last opportunity will do so will be December 13th. Again, 447 Stockton Street. And even if you don't want a reading, just come check out the shop before it goes away forever. But I will still, of course, be available virtually, or if a new partnership pops up, then maybe I'll pursue that. But honestly, I'm gonna spawn anywhere I'm needed. Any partnerships available, hit me up. And speaking of being available virtually, we have gift cards. So if you want to give someone a very unique gift that is all about them, feel free to purchase gift cards on our website, jencalo.com, and they are e-delivered. So even if you have a loved one that lives far away, but they've been wanting or needing a session, yeah, I think that would be a very cool holiday gift.
Get a gift card for your white elephants coming up. Everybody gets the same boring like Tupperware, gets the same like sweatshirt, like Yeti cups, Stanley cups. Get a gift card for a reading with Genesis. I feel like that'd be really fun.
Yeah, that would be a cool white elephant gift, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for listening. Get in touch with us. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, at jencalo, and jencalo.com. And again, if you like the show, share it with a friend that might find it interesting. And wherever you're listening, rate it and give us 5 stars.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be, and signing off.
Bye.